It's officially spooky season. On that note, today we're going to be making homemade Halloween crumble cookies. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm in the UK and we don't have crumble cookies here. It's so sad. But everything homemade is always better in my opinion. So we're going to be doing 4 different flavours. All of them are going to look so spooky, perfect for a Halloween party. And as usual for my crumble cookie recipes, I'm going to be giving you the full recipe to make them at home yourself. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. First things first, today we're going to preheat the oven to 170 degrees for a fan oven, and that will equate to 190 for a conventional oven. Usually I've been baking my crumble cookies at 180 degrees. I want to sort of adapt the crumble cookie recipe that we're using. Let's do it. 170. Okay, so we've got 115 grams of margarine and 125 grams of caster sugar here. This recipe will make 8 cookies in total, so you're going to get 2 of each flavour. If you would prefer a few more, all you need to do is just double the quantities. Let's add these into a mixing bowl as so, and then we're also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract just to make sure we've got a nice flavour throughout. And then as usual, we're just going to mix this with our electric mixer until fully combined. You can do this by hand if you would prefer, or you haven't got a stand mixer, but I always use this as it makes the process a lot quicker. So let's do it. It's not even on. I do this every time. The thing about these cookies is they actually come together really quickly. So what you're gonna be left with is gonna look like this. We're now gonna add in a medium egg and then just combine it again. It will look a bit curdled at this stage, but don't worry, because adding the flour will fix that. At this point, I'm just measuring out 250 grams of plain flour. I've actually reduced the amount of flour for these cookies compared to last time. Although they were absolutely delicious, I just want them to have a bit more spread because those ones are quite chunky, like they hold their shape. With crumble cookies, I feel like they are a bit more flat, so that's what I'm hoping is going to happen today. And also, instead of adding baking powder and bicarbonate of soda, we're just going to scrap the baking powder today, just because for the same reason, we don't really want these cookies to rise, and that's what bicarbonate of soda does. It helps cookies and bakes spread outwards. So I'm going to add half a teaspoon of that into the dough, into the flour and the dough. All we need to do is just pour that into the bowl, mix it again, and our dough should be formed. I'm thinking it's going to be a bit more of a looser dough today, so let's see what happens. Okay, so as predicted, the dough is a lot softer. I think this is going to be better. I think this is going to be good. I've been doing a lot of cookie recipe developing recently, so I've learned a lot about what makes them look the way they do. Why is this stuck? Okay, the next question is, am I going to customize the dough and do like different colors? For Halloween, that could be fun. So this is what the dough looks like. As you can see, it's not in a ball, it's more sort of spread out, but that's fine. One of them's gonna have like spider cobwebs on it, and I was thinking that dough, to contrast the white of the marshmallow, maybe should be dark. So I'm thinking maybe I could do like a black cookie. I have actually got some black food colouring, so that could be quite good. But then the next question is, do I do another one like orange for a pumpkin? I might just do orange buttercream. But I think what I might do then, just to make these really tasty, is add some milk chocolate chips into this, just to give it a bit more flavour. I don't usually add chocolate chips into the dough, but I just feel like doing it today. I think it'd be fun. I've actually got these really big chocolate chips. I'll show you. They sort of look like that. So high quality, they're amazing. They're from Guittard. I don't really know how to say that. So let's add in about 100 grams and we'll put that back in the electric mixer so the buttons have got a bit of time to like break up a bit. We don't want them to be too big. I've just had a new thought. Another one of the cookies I'm going to be doing is basically going to be like a ghost on the top, and I'm going to be using fondant to cover a marshmallow. Obviously I'll show you how I do it, but again I think that dough needs to be dark as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this dough in half, which is actually going to make it a lot easier. Then we're going to add half of it back into the mixer with some black food colouring. I've never made a black cookie before. So to split the dough really easily, you just get 2 bowls and some scales. You get your big bowl of dough and you just start evenly putting it between them. So always aim for like a number to start with. So this one's now got 100 grams in it, so I'm going to move that one to the side, add this one over and do 100 grams again, and then just keep doing that until you've used up all the dough. It's a really good way just to measure it out. I want these to be like the best homemade crumble cookie recipe ever. La-di-da, la-di-dum, 'tis autumn. I'm actually going over to my family's house tonight, so I'm gonna gift them these cookies. I think they'll like them. It doesn't have to be like so accurate, you know, like it's a life or death situation, but it's just good to get them as accurate as you can, just so that then the cookies are then basically going to be a very similar size. A good way to get any excess out of a bowl that you're not managing to get with a spoon is just to get a spatula and just grab it out that way, because it does stick to the spatula and then you end up with like nothing left. It's great. No waste around here, thank you very much. I'm just going to add half of it back in as mentioned before, and I'm just going to use my black food colouring. This is the one I'm going to go for. It's from Colour Mill. That's what it looks like. The question is, how much do we put? Because this food colouring is known to be quite strong, and the other thing is it goes all over your fingers and then it doesn't come off. Let's do 2 drops to start with, and I'll report back once I've got it to a nice black colour, I suppose. I'll be back in a sec. If you're looking to get into baking and you don't know like what things are worth investing in, maybe that are a bit more expensive, I would definitely say good quality food colouring is essential, because I used to use like the supermarket stuff. I'd be using like a whole tube just to get the colour I wanted. This stuff is so pigmented. This is not an ad, I just like to share what works. Anyway, there it is, black cookie dough. You want to make sure that you get your spatula and just really get to the bottom of the bowl here, because the stuff at the bottom may not have mixed in properly and can look a bit grey. Also, you want to try and mix it for the least amount of time as possible, because you don't want the dough to be over mixed, as then it can become a bit tough. Okay, I think we're good to go, guys. We can start getting them onto the baking trays and in the oven. Yay! Let's start with the black ones, because I want to see how they turn out. So I'm just taking a large baking tray. I got this one from Tesco. Put a little bit of baking paper on here, and we're going to take a cookie scoop. I wouldn't recommend doing this with your hand. You can use a spoon if you haven't got a cookie scoop. And we're going to make 4 balls of dough with the black dough and put them on this tray. Let's just bake all the black ones at once. I find it really fun to make them like really even scoops. Just sort of like push it around and then like press it in when you have a cookie scoop. It makes them like really circular. Press it down. It's like a nice shape rather than just like a big basically. And you just want to make sure they're as evenly sized as possible. I always do them diagonally to each other, just because this way they then have enough room to spread on the tray. I've got that Halloween song stuck in my head where it's like spooky scary skeletons, but then I don't actually know the words. I keep saying a shivering down your spine, but I don't think those are the words. Spooky scary skeletons are shivering down your spine. That is not the words. These look sick. Then what you just want to do is just use your spoon, try and make them as circular as possible. You can also give them a bit of height if you want to, because they will just spread out in the oven. So here we go, we have 4 black cookies. Let's see what happens when we bake them. We're gonna bake them, I'm thinking about 10 to 12 minutes. So I'll report back when they're done, and in the meantime I will get the vanilla cookie dough onto the tray as well, ready to go straight in when these are done. The black ones are done. They're looking a bit grey. Like, they do look black, but they're not as dark as I thought. Actually no, in the camera they do look quite dark. They look good. I feel like they're not too big. They're a good flat shape for the buttercream. Always a good tip when they come out of the oven, you can just get a spoon and literally just press it over the top of the cookies, making them nice and flat. You can also tap it against the countertop a couple of times, which also makes them spread out nicely. So now that these are done, I'm going to move on to the other ones. I'm going to use my hands for this one because it seems to have firmed up a bit. I'm going to press it down, I'm thinking. Just make it flat before it goes in. I probably won't make any crumble cookies for a while now. I'm doing them for like the seasons. I think the next ones will be Christmas themed, which is exciting. Let's see how they bake, already going in kind of a little bit flat. I'll report back in about 10 minutes. The next cookies are done. I'm really happy with the shape of these. They're a lot more round. Like that one looks so good. That one's probably the most like crumble looking cookie I've ever made, so I'm really happy with the shape. Just remember when you're baking cookies, a quick tip is that they always bake a bit more once they're out the oven. Sometimes if it looks like they're not done in the oven, it doesn't mean they're not done at all. It just means they'll keep baking on the tray. My buttercream is done. I've just done a vanilla buttercream. Simple ratio of 200 grams of butter and 200 grams of icing sugar with a teaspoon of vanilla extract and some purple food colouring. I have actually filmed a whole in-depth buttercream tutorial for you guys, which I'm going to be posting the video after this one. So make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss that video. It's basically a really helpful tutorial on how to make sure your buttercream isn't grainy and tastes like butter, and how to make sure it's nice and white and fluffy like this. I'm going to let the cookies cool down before customizing the buttercream and adding it on. So in the meantime, I'm just going to have some lunch. I'm having minestrone soup and I'll be back in about 15 minutes. The Wanderer has returned. Let's decorate the cookies. This is so exciting. So what we're going to do for 2 of the black cookies is a small bit of vanilla buttercream just to hold a marshmallow in place. Then we're going to cover it with a little bit of fondant to make it look like a ghost, and then put some little cute eyes on. So I'm just going to get a really small bit of this buttercream into the piping bag. The next step is to take 2 marshmallows. I'm going to use white ones for this because ghosts aren't usually pink. Just about this size. We don't really want them too big, otherwise it's just going to be a bit of a faff. Literally just going to add a marshmallow on top as so. Next up, we need to get some white fondant icing. About that much for 2. We don't want too much because we don't want it to be too heavy, but we're just going to roll it around a bit in our hands to soften it, just make it nice and pliable. And then I think I'm just going to roll it into like a large-ish circle, not too thick either. Make sure you use a lot of icing sugar so it doesn't stick to anything. And then try and make it into a circle as much as possible. I've got no idea how to do this, but so we've got like a large piece of fondant. So we're just going to hang it over the top. I think it's too big. I'm just going to slightly cut it down a bit. Just hang it over the marshmallow and then just sort of like maneuver it into place, sort of like tucking. I don't really know what the right word word would be pinching, I suppose. So just sort of pinch it into how you want it to look. And I'm just sort of like pushing it inwards. This is what we've got. I think it looks good. And we're going to just add some eyes with a bit of black food colouring. So I'm just going to add a really small bit of this buttercream into a bowl with a bit of black food colouring to make a really small bit of black buttercream for the eyes. You can use like an edible pen or some gel or something like that, but I don't have any. So I'm going to get my piping bag, pick where I want the eyes to go, and then just sort of shape them into place. For ghost eyes, they're kind of like long ovals, if that makes sense. They get really shaky in situations like this. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. The ghosts are done. Let's move on to the next ones, which do also require some black buttercream. One thing you always want to do before you pipe buttercream is just give it a good stir with your spoon. Just knock out any air bubbles. So I'm just going to add a big chunk of white buttercream into the one where we just did the black buttercream. And then, as before, we're just going to add in some more black food colouring, which I had some bigger bowls, but I've used them all. And then, if you guys have been watching for a while, you will know this is the piping nozzle that I use to do my Crumbl cookies. It's a 3A. We're going to put our nozzle in the piping bag as so. Add in our black buttercream. I'm going to try and pipe this on camera. And if you guys have been watching for a while, you'll know how I do this. But if not, we go all the way around until we've got a nice swirl. So let's do it. I don't know why I'm always shaking. I just want it to look good. So we're going to go all the way around. Even pressure. Oh, that's very sleek, glossy buttercream. There we go. I might do it again, not gonna lie, but you get the idea. So I'll come back once I've piped both of those. We've now got our black buttercream cookies. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take 2 more white marshmallows and we're going to microwave them for about 10 to 15 seconds until they're really soft and gooey. We're gonna like pull them across our cookies to make like a web. So I'm gonna show you all of that up close. I'm gonna get the camera ready now because I think my hands are gonna be absolutely covered in marshmallow. That looks so cool, oh my gosh. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. So it's meant to be like a spider web. It kind of struggled to stick to the buttercream, but I think the buttercream is like essential to make it look good. I think if it was just the cookie, it wouldn't look as good as it does right now. I think that looks so fun. So we've got 2 more different cookies to do. And I'm thinking one of them is definitely going to be with pumpkins on it. Because let me show you what I've got. So I've got these like wafer Halloween shapes and they are pumpkins and ghosts. I'm thinking, why don't we do a green buttercream? So like at the pumpkin patch. The green can be like the floor and then the pumpkin can go on the top with some like mini pumpkin sprinkles. What I'm thinking of doing for the last one is like white buttercream but then mini spiders all over the top. So I'm gonna get a few Brown Smarties as the base and then do a few little legs coming off it. But for now, let's do the pumpkin one. I'm gonna add a little bit of green food colouring. These bowls are too small. Okay, so we've got this kind of green. I quite like that. This is the oh, what's happened there? This is the perfect green as well. Sorry, I really like get into the concentration mode and then like forget to talk. So I'm gonna do a big pumpkin on each one like that. Oh my gosh, let's do like a sort of border of pumpkins. These might actually be my favourite cookies that I've done yet. It's like Crumbl cookies. Maybe I should open the UK Crumbl. Soph's Crumbl. Oh my gosh, look how cute that is. I'm so happy. This hasn't taken me that long either. This whole thing's taken like 2 hours. We're down to the final cookie. I'm just gonna get a small bit of buttercream to make the brown legs. It all starts to get very chaotic by the end because I've ended up using like 8 bowls, a bazillion spoons. I'm not even joking. Any leftover buttercream we're gonna put in here. Oh my god, did you see that? That actually just scared me to death. I should have enough to do a big swirl because I want to do like lots of mini spiders. I think that would look quite fun. And then one more. Okay, I can breathe. So what I'm going to do now is basically hope and assume I can find enough Brown Smarties. I should probably put it on a plate. There's one in this whole pack. I'm gonna have to go see if I've got any more. I've got this big pack of Christmas Smarties, so let's see if I can find any in here. One there, one there, and then one here. We're just gonna like do the legs, and I'm thinking maybe one eye. That could be quite funny. Now we're gonna add brown food colouring into any leftover buttercream. Probably should have made a bit more buttercream, but I always seem to have too much. You know how expensive butter is? It just seems like such a waste, but then today, of course, I've actually got not enough. I feel like I'm sort of winging this, so I don't really know what to expect, but I'm basically just gonna try and do some spider's legs. How many legs do they have? Is it 8? Yeah, it is 8. No, is it? Yes. Why am I doubting myself? Spiders have 8 legs. Can we see that? Okay, I'm gonna just finish off the legs and then report back. This is what we're working with. I think that actually looks really cute. Definitely on theme. Here's what I'm thinking. Either I add eyes like in between the spiders, or I add one eye onto the top of each one. Okay, I'm adding the eyes. I think it's gonna look really spooky. I'm just gonna do a tiny dot of buttercream on the top of each Smartie, just so that the eyes can stick. And we actually do have leftover buttercream, so I was right. Always trust your gut. I'm just gonna place an eye, oh my gosh, I'm shaking, in the center of each one. This looks so funny. Am I a genius? I don't mean to toot my own horn, but am I? How cool, how cool. Oh my god. Let's do a grand reveal, a super close-up of each one. I'm so excited. First one we've got is the pumpkin patch cookie. So cute. Then we've got our ghost cookies. So cute and so easy to do actually, once you get the hang of it. Then we've got our spider web cookies, and I bet these will actually taste so nice because of the marshmallow. And then to finish, we've got our spider eyeball cookies. Oh my gosh. I am literally over the moon with how these have turned out. These are my favorite Crumbl cookies I have done yet. They all look unique and different. They were actually so easy to make. I just know they're going to taste amazing. I can't wait to give these to my family tonight. So on that note, I think that concludes the video. I've had the most fun making these Crumbl cookies today. This has been my favorite episode yet. We're on episode 3 now of making Crumbl cookies. What I love about making them is they come out different every single time. I never know how they're going to turn out. I just always felt like they look better than the last time. So there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me to make these cookies. Let me know in the comments if you're going to give these a try. Don't forget the recipe is also in the video description, and please do let me know what other videos you would like to see from me. Don't forget to like the video, click the hype button, and subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I will see you next week for my next video.